Yeah, I'll have a large extra butter popcorn, and she'll have snow caps. Really? Snow caps? They taste like cardboard. Okay.
Come along, it's time for you to listen to this review from DC to MCU. It's time for Rundown Reviews. Rundown Reviews. Rundown Reviews.
It's fallish.
Fallish.
Actually, today is fall. Yeah, so it's the first day of fall.
Autumn.
As we're recording, it's the first day of fall.
recording because it's like this is coming out at the end of October.
Oh yeah.
So,
Yeah. Brothers, sisters, gender resistors. Welcome to another episode of the Comic Book Rundown presents Rundown Reviews.
There
Thank
we go.
you.
Hey!
I'm there. I'm still there. It's all right. I, of course, am the man that did this. Where we do we review movies that Joey put on a list, allegedly, that sometimes have to do with comics. Sometimes they're just movies that we decide that we want to watch and make a reason. If that means Ron has to draw the comic to count. So,
to be fair, though, all the movies that we've covered, even the ones that were like video games first, they've had comic adaptations.
that's
Like
weird.
this one, we're talking Star Wars Episode VII, Force Awakens. I've got the trade or the trade over there.
Yeah.
They made a
Is the
comic
trade
adaptation.
better than the movie?
Well,
I
I remember when this came out, they went like apeshit bananas because Disney, Disney, Marvel, and everybody now Georgia all in the same fucking pocket. So they were just like anything we can get to print that would sell money. Because they had like a comic book that came out that followed this story.
They had the one about Poe Dameron's backstory too.
Mhm.
They had Poe Dameron's backstory. They dropped Vader.
Yeah, they had the one about how C-3PO got the red arm.
Yep.
Yeah, like once these movies came out, it was like, hey, we're gonna have so much material, tie-in material, like all the novelizations.
Yeah.
They had a bunch of like Road to the Force
Yeah, the
Awakens,
Aftermath
Road
series.
to
All right, but do any of those explain how the hell they got Luke's original saber?
I think it's somewhere. I haven't read it because I dropped off the comics.
Yeah, because it dropped off Cloud City.
Well, I think the original script George Lucas had was like the opening shot was like his hand floating in space, still gripping the lightsaber.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Holy
they never-
shit. I completely forgot that he dropped that fucking thing.
You're welcome.
And I just always imagine Maz Kanata just was like flying by and saw it and was like, "Hey, that's cool. I'll grab that."
Well, see, it wouldn't have been-
someone.
It wouldn't have been floating anywhere because it would have landed on the planet and shattered into a trillion, billion, bajillion, zillion pieces.
I don't think it would have fell to the planet because I think the Cloud City is above the planet. Is it not?
Yes,
Then how do they survive outside of...
Because it has its own
it's a
like
mining
force.
planet.
Yeah, it has its own like little like atmosphere
Bubble.
force field around it.
Okay, that makes more sense.
And I'm almost positive that it gets told somewhere in a comic or in
It
a
has
book.
to.
I don't know where, because they're not going to drop that in the movie
Mhm.
saying that's a tale for another time, and then not say it, not tell it. They've had this property for a decade now, and they've come out with a shit ton of other stuff.
And by golly, they won't tell you in a movie. It'll be something else you have to buy.
I mean, look, they never told us in the movie.
How do you feel about that, Chuck?
Palpatine returned. That was in freaking Fortnite.
Wait,
I'm
how
still
Google
fucked
things?
about you pointing that out just really fucked my brain wholeheartedly.
I'm surprised.
I don't know
like,
how I've never put that together. I was today years old when I realized. I guess I just assumed it was a different lights. I don't know.
No,
I
it's
forgot
the,
that
it's
he
the Child Slayer
fell
3000.
To be
Yeah.
fair,
To be
what I
fair.
always imagine happened was that like it fell down the pits that like Luke jumped down, so it was just like at the bottom of something, and some random person in Cloud City found it. That's what I
I
always
feel
thought.
like I remember.
With a hand still attached to it.
Sure,
Probably.
yeah.
Like for some reason, I think like an Ugnaught found it, and
Yeah.
then it got like traded.
Yeah, it traded around.
Around.
Maz Kanata has all these like treasures because
But doesn't
You know.
she say that he came and dropped it off?
No, God no.
Ah,
No.
maybe he did drop it off.
You know what I'm
Well,
mad
wait,
about?
what did she say to Han then? When Han
just
asks where she got it
That's
from.
a story for another time.
yeah, that's exactly what she says. That's a story. For another time.
Because that at that moment is when the First Order is attacking the castle.
Gotcha.
I'm a little mad we didn't, because like I guess when Rey grabs the lightsaber, the first shot we get, it's like she's in this hallway, and I've never really known what that hallway was supposed to be. And apparently it's supposed to be Cloud City, and there was supposed to be a shot where she was seeing Luke and Vader dueling in Cloud City from Empire Strikes Back.
Oh, that would be kind of cool.
That would have been
That would have been cool.
but they didn't want to show Luke before the very end. So I was like,
But they did though, because like 2 scenes later, it's
Okay,
him
a
putting the
cloak-
hands,
but it's a cloaked version of him. They
and you could have had them
I know.
in the shadows.
It's true. They could have. They could have done it, and it would have been really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think that would have ruined the end of it.
No, I don't think so either.
Plus, don't we know that she didn't the trailer ruin it? I thought like the trailer ruined that we knew he was coming back.
No, we knew.
No promotional
Yeah,
stills.
his
Oh.
name was like top billed, and then we also knew because he voiceovered the very first trailer where he was like, the Force is strong with my family, da 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 da, all that.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I just remember when the
Fine.
picture came out of him standing on set in his outfit, and he's looking at the pic, like somebody taking the picture, and it looks like a very disappointed Mark Hamill, and it's
Yeah.
just like, this is a leaked photo, and Mark Hamill is very disappointed that you looked at this leaked photo of him.
Yeah.
Like, it
All-
totally fit.
To be fair, all the leaked photos were kind of dumb. Because I remember it was the Entertainment Weekly thing, because I was like following this so closely. I went to Star
was
Wars
too.
Celebration that year and everything. And I remember the EW photos leaked, and they also showed Adam Driver without the helmet on. And I was like, see, the reveal would have been really cool if like
Yes.
no one knew. Like if they could even keep it under wraps to Adam Driver, like no one knew who was going to be Kylo Ren. And then like the reveal that it's just some like snot-nosed kid, kind of like you think he's this like badass, like, oh man, who is this guy? Like it's Vader and all that. And then he just takes a hat out that is like the poofy hair. And I feel like that would have been a cool reveal, but we all knew it beforehand, which kind of sucks.
Yeah.
So I don't remember any of like. Okay, so do you remember when you first saw this movie? Did you go to theaters the night of
I
its
went-
opening?
Yeah.
I went night of with our friend Mito back in the day. I actually had, I was supposed to see it after work, so like 11 o'clock at night or 11:30 at night. And then I had like a 3 o'clock in the morning showing as well. I actually canceled that one because Emily and I drove down to Alabama and we saw it with some friends, like podcasting friends that we had made. They had also had a Star Wars podcast at the time and was really excited about this movie. For the life of me, I can't remember what it was called. They ended it some years back. But yeah, we drove down there, and my second viewing was with them down there in Alabama. It was fun.
I watched it on Disney Plus. I think that was
You
the
didn't
first
see it
time
in
I saw it.
theaters?
You
No,
watched it in Disney Plus this past
That's
weekend
funny.
for the first time.
no, I watched it about 2 years ago. I think for the first time.
Really?
Okay. So like when
Yeah.
it first went back up, like when it first went up on for
Basically, yeah.
Yeah, there was a comic book shop in my town. They got an early access screening for it. So like Tuesday night before it came out, one of the theaters in my town closed half of their theaters down and only showed The Force Awakens, like, 6 theaters showing it 3 times in the night. So like everyone was buying tickets for it, and it was this big deal. Like everyone was dressing up. It's the only movie I've ever cosplayed for, and I did Han Solo, and there were 6 other Han Solos in there. And of course, we all knew it was coming, but we were still going to do it anyway. But yeah, I saw it like on Tuesday night before, and then when it like was Thursday night, the actual like screening, like opening night, I went again and saw it and everything. So
That's
it was
awesome.
pretty cool.
What about you, Chuck? When did you see it?
I saw it. I don't think I saw it opening weekend, but maybe. But I went with my mom, and I know
did you.
that I did not get any of it. So my mom was like, at that point, my mom was starting to get sick. So her like seeing this was like, kind of like, it was almost like it's like my version of Fanboys. Like getting my mom to go see this before she died was like a thing, right?
It's
Yeah.
funny you mentioned that, because that also happened in this. Like someone got to see this like 6 months before it
Yes.
came out
Yeah.
because they had.
I think it was
2
like
months,
2 months.
something.
Either way, but yeah, he died the
Yeah.
month before.
Anyway, yeah.
Yeah. So I really wanted my mom to go see it because we knew she loves Harrison Ford. But I had not had any of it ruined for me somehow. I don't know, because like I never knew about Han's death.
Mhm.
I didn't know, like, I didn't even know the backstory of like he didn't want to really do this, so he was kind of only in agreement to do it if Han was actually going to die.
Yeah.
I had
He's wanted Han to die for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's true. I didn't know who Kylo Ren was or what he looked like or why that would have even mattered. I didn't really know anything about it, so I went in like fresh. Nothing was spoiled for me. I didn't really know anything other than what I watched from trailers, all that stuff. And I remember being absolutely devastated at like Han's death scene. Like that got me,
Mm-hmm.
because he's my favorite character of all time. Plus, I was probably unpacking some like father trauma there, I'm pretty sure, at some point. So like it was hitting me on a more personal level, I guess, or something. But like,
Sure.
yeah,
I mean, Kylo unpacked some father drama too.
that's true.
Drama there too. So
But yeah, I remember walking out of the theater being really was like, yeah, this is fucking awesome. All right, this is going somewhere. This is going to be good, and I'm going to like these movies.
Mm-hmm.
But now rewatching it, man, I don't know. I think because I already knew what was gonna happen, it does not hit the same like when I watched it the first time.
Interesting. Okay.
I had the
Yeah.
opposite of that feeling watching it.
Really?
This time. Yeah, I feel like the first time I watched it, I was in the camp of a lot of people who were kind of complaining, like, it's just a New Hope, like reskinned, like
Oh, it is 100%.
100%,
Like right
yeah.
down to like
trench runs and getting plans and
getting
all
a little nobody from a nobody planet.
yeah, it's
and-
a desert planet.
fucking orphan kid.
Yeah,
Become
droid.
who is the droids are the same. Literally, in some cases, they're the same. Like we have C3PO fucking back and shit. We've got a fucking dude with a respirator issue who has anger problems. Like it all. We have a old man that dies as a sacrifice to the rest.
I don't think Kylo Ren actually has breathing problems. I think he just does it for the aesthetic.
Yeah.
No, I think
He's
he
like-
does it because he wants to be Darth Vader.
Yeah,
Exactly.
100%.
Like
He
that
did,
hard. Yeah.
Yeah, but that's what I felt like the first time I saw it. I was kind of like, oh, that's a bummer. I was hoping for a little bit more, but watching it now, I'm like, no, I like this. It's like, it feels new, but familiar at the same time. I feel like, okay, it's starting off on like something that we all feel is like, old hat, but like, it's a new cinematography is different. The flying is different. Even the music is different. I love Rey's theme. I think it's good. So this time I felt more like, oh, I actually like this more than I thought. And J.J. Abrams is always good at starting stuff, terrible at finishing them. And that's what bugs me so much.
Yeah, we'll get
I agree
to
with
Rise of Skywalker when we get to it. But no, I'm right there with you. Like when I first saw this, I loved it. Every time I've watched it, I love it. Like my excitement for this movie has never dwindled. It's just I'm not saying like I see something new every time, but even knowing what's coming, like I can still get excited for like at the end when Finn and Kylo start battling with the lightsabers, when Rey like taps into her power like fully and gets the saber from Kylo. Like I love it. It's great.
It's cool, yeah. And you know what's funny is like I remember at the time thinking like, oh man, there's too much like quippiness and like almost a Marvel feel to it. Like that bugged me. But rewatching Return of the Jedi recently for the podcast, they kind of did that in Return of the Jedi too. So it actually, when you're watching them that close in order, it kind of does fit. I was like, this actually doesn't feel that weird to me anymore.
This past watch, I had the same feeling. Like in the original, we had C-3PO and R2 being the comic relief. You had moments from time to time throughout the whole series. Han and Lando in Empire, the Ewoks and all their antics in Return. Like you had those comedy elements, and then you get to the prequels and literally
Nothing.
both. Well, no.
I guess
you had
the
Jar
droids.
Jar is supposed to be comic relief in Phantom Menace.
Just because he's not good doesn't mean he's not technically the comic
Yeah.
relief.
That's a fair point. Yeah.
R2 and C3PO in all three
Mhm.
are, again, comic relief. And you, again, had a few moments here or there. This one, it seemed like every single character had a funny moment, a funny one line they had to get, that was in the script that they had to say. And I'm not saying it took anything away. Like, it does work. But the fact that I noticed it this time around, I agree with what you said there, Jordan. Like, it has a Marvel feel.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not, I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but it's also shouldn't be here.
Yeah, it felt like Disney making Star Wars instead of just Star Wars continuing on.
But it also didn't hurt it, though.
No, I honestly
I
think...
don't think anyway.
I think just like for us growing up with the prequel trilogy and how that was kind of like... It seemed drop shock a little bit to the people who grew up on the original trilogy.
Mhm.
I think that's just what it was for us, a little bit of drop shock. It's like, okay, we're used to the original trilogy. We're used to the prequel trilogy. This new one, where I think people who are younger and just getting into Star Wars, it wasn't really that weird to them because their experience, they haven't spent decades of their life watching this thing or getting used to it being a certain way and then having it change slightly, So I feel like it's just part of it when you watch something for so long. If they tweak it at all, it feels more than it is.
Yeah, I think I just felt like this was like a different generation. Like that was what they were trying to get across, was like this is after, the effects. We have new characters coming in, and I don't know, almost to the effect of like, because they were trying to tell the same story, let's make the characters different and maybe nobody will notice. So among my friends, I am the only one who likes Poe Dameron.
Oh, I love
everybody.
Poe Dameron.
I think Poe's great.
Poe's great.
All my friends, everybody at the Professional Casual Network. Well, they're not my friends, but you know what I'm saying. Just fucking hate him because of like how stupid he is. And maybe that must happen in later movies, because like I like him in this. I think he's great. Like I think he's a really cool character. I think I like Finn a little better because he's more of a tragic hero, which I relate better to. But I'm not sure I get why everybody hated him so much.
Well, I mean, Poe Dameron has a tragic backstory too, because he's from Alderaan. So I mean,
right?
He was a kid when
sort of. I mean, he was actually born, I think, on a ship, but yeah, his parents are from, one of them is from Alderaan.
Was.
But no, Poe was actually supposed to die when the TIE fighter crashed. He was supposed to die, and if I remember correctly, I feel like Oscar Isaacs kind of convinced Abrams to continue on with his character.
Well, he kind of blew up, I think, right before that too as an actor, so it kind of made financial sense. I think that helped.
Disney. Yeah. So, and I mean, Poe's character in this, great. I
love it too when he's like waiting at Kylo Ren. He's like, do you talk first? Do I talk first? What's going? Like just that introduction of like, okay, he is the new kind of Han Solo. Yep. Like he just doesn't. Yeah. He's just gonna act like nonchalant about everything.
So if he's the new Han and Rey is the new Luke, does that make Finn the new Leia? Like if it's one for one.
When I first watched this movie, when we get to the end fight between Finn and Rey and Kylo, like I really thought that they were going to make Finn also Force sensitive, or like, able to tap into the Force. And when they didn't, I was really disappointed, because that would have been cool, having more than one Force powered person on the good side.
I'm kind of glad they didn't, though, because it would have been too convenient to have so many, which, although I guess not convenient because he did defect, and I guess you could say that was like the Force kind of calling him away from like being one of the stormtroopers that he was pulled from childhood to be and stuff. So I guess you could get away with it. I feel like that would work.
He does say that, right? That he was like a kid and he was pulled and trained. Okay, because they also talk about clones.
Yeah, that was Kylo's jab to Hux of like, oh yeah, so your way of just rounding up people and training them to be these soldiers, that sucks. We should just go back to the clone system where we just built these soldiers.
Yeah. Okay.
Because they
For some
didn't have
reason, I
enough
thought-
people to enlist right now, like because they're kind of on the fringes, so they're having to steal soldiers essentially and like indoctrinate them.
Yeah.
Right. Right.
Right.
Well, they learned from the Jedi, so
Yeah, exactly.
No, you're not wrong.
yeah.
Can we, since we're talking about stormtroopers, Captain Phasma had so much potential and such a letdown.
Man,
Oh my god! Fucking Lucas making these dope ass looking fucking characters only to die like bitches.
she's not dead.
We didn't see her die in this one, but like she didn't do anything.
Eventually,
Yeah,
she got
eventually she
captured
dies.
and like forced to bring the shield down. I'm like, okay.
I mean, she sounded kind of sexy. Does that count?
Oh, she was fucking Finn, right? Like his punishment was that she would make him go like that.
Yeah.
Anybody else get that vibe? Like that's
Yeah, it
what I
seemed
was
like
under the impression
a
of.
bit of a BDSM kind of like, yeah.
Yeah,
thing going.
okay. I'm just making sure. I was like, like workplace like sexual harassment. Like he's the secretary. that was the vibe I got. I wasn't totally
It
sure.
definitely felt like it. Yes.
Yeah, but like, do they cover Phasma in anything outside of this?
She has her own book. She has her own comic, like series. Yeah, so they explained her character a little more, which again sucks. She was a character that when she came onto the screen,
Yeah,
like commanded
Looked
attention and was
amazing too.
awesome. And then she has nothing in here, and she has slightly more in Last Jedi.
But then gets destroyed.
Yeah, and I was holding out hope that I'm like, oh, she's not actually dead. She'll come back in the
I was
final
holding
one.
out, for Rise of Skywalker. I thought it was gonna be some like reveal or something of some
Yeah.
sort. Rise of
And then
Skywalker
no.
had so many problems. I had so much
Well-
hope for, anyway.
We'll get there.
We'll
Well,
get there because
okay,
I
but
to
like,
talk about that one.
yeah, she's pretty much she is Boba Fett. She's dope suit, holding a gun, walking around.
yeah,
Yeah,
100%.
and we don't actually get to
That's
see her do
accurate.
anything.
But speaking of dope things, okay, I think someone mentioned, I think Chuck, you mentioned that like the VFX were like better on this one. They were like, let's go, like we got it. I am happy that they went practical with BB-8. That droid is like the coolest design, and the fact that it's real. I saw them bring him out on stage and like roll around with R2-D2 at the thing. I'm like, I know there's some scenes where it was CGI, but for
You
the
have
most
to, yeah.
part, he's just rolling around, someone controlling it. Like,
Yeah, how's that
real-
thing work?
It's
How's that
crazy.
work?
What
Magnets.
is it? Magnets, yeah.
Oh,
is
So
it
it's just
magnets?
like, 'cause
Oh, okay.
I have I think it's at my office actually. I have the little version of it that you can get that's like about like a foot
Yeah.
tall.
Mhm.
And it's just a magnet. It just sits on top and it rolls along and the head stays up magnetized. It's crazy.
That's-
how,
Yo, magnets are fucking crazy. In the wise words of Insane Clown Posse, magnets. How the fuck do those work?
But no, like this was a benefit to Abrams is that he did a ton of practical effects.
yes. All
Which
the
just
Set
translated
aliens.
to
building
next
looked
two.
fucking rad too. Like I
what?
will say, the set building, like just like the where everything is and stuff,
Mhm.
it definitely has like a post-war feel, like because like everything is either like demolished or it's like being rebuilt, so it's very industrial looking. But like I don't know, like I remember like during the cold, like when I was in high school when we were learning about Cold War and we were like looking at photos of like different places in the Soviet Union and stuff, and them trying to essentially industrial build on top of rubble from like
Mhm.
past wars and things like that. I found really interesting of like an aesthetic, and they do a really good job of creating that.
Well, it feels like the old grimy lived in Star Wars that we're used to from the
Mhm.
original trilogy, but with like a filter of the prequel because it's still kind of bright. It's not as
Yeah.
dark. So it like is this perfect blend between the two. And I do agree. I love the idea that like you see just the wreckage from all these wars from the Empire still just kind of floating around and people building their places on top of it or living inside of these things, or even Starkiller Base. Like it's organic. It feels like you built a Star Destroyer inside of a cave. Like it's got a bit of organicness to it. It's got a bit of the like metal feel to it. Like it's just a super cool
I mean,
way of
they
doing things.
they mined a whole planet and
Yeah.
made it into the Death Star.
It's very cool how like the world building they did in this feels like it's almost something new, even though it's built on top of Star Wars. It feels new, and I like that about it.
Okay, I do have a question about the Starkiller Base.
Mhm.
Explain it to me like I'm a 5-year-old. What it's exactly doing. So it's draining the sun.
Yes,
Yeah, the nearby
that's how-
sun, it pulls its power in, it captures it, and then it shoots it out like a laser. So instead of using kyber crystals, they're just using like the gaseous sun. Pretty
I
much.
feel like though, because the planet itself was, and I can't remember what the original planet was called, but it was where the younglings, the Jedi, would go to find kyber crystals.
I didn't know that.
So I feel like the kyber crystals are still there, and that helps them draw in the sun. So like it is able to store with the power of the sun and the kyber crystals combined. Is
So
what
it
helps
runs.
destroy systems.
So what you're saying is it runs on a solar panel, and it's like getting super juiced up, so much so that, but it's killing the sun.
Well, that's what I
Okay,
didn't
so
know.
this is what capitalists wish solar panels did to the sun, so it was finite, so that they could actually charge us more for it.
Yeah, because that's what I was wondering. I'm like, when they pull the sun, I'm like, does it regenerate? Do they just go to a new sun? Like, are there just suns floating
No,
around out
'cause
there?
it
Like,
just-
what are we doing?
They
That's
just
why
took
it's the
sun
Star
from the
Killer
system.
base.
Yeah. So did that sun? So when the Star Killer base got destroyed, it turned into a new sun, right?
Yes, because it got
In-
blown up with the sun inside of it,
Yeah.
essentially.
So they moved the sun in that star system,
Which would have destroyed that star
destroyed.
system anyways.
yeah, totally destroy the system.
It would have a whole butterfly effect across the whole universe, pretty much. Like,
Right. Yeah, I'm not an astrologist, but I'm pretty sure that would fuck a lot of shit up
Well,
if
in
you
just that-
blew
in
up
just
and then
that system.
created an entire new star.
Yes, totally.
Yeah,
So
okay.
just
Or
the
took a
surrounding
star
planets.
away.
So
Or the
It
fact,
took
yeah,
it away.
or the fact that they've drained 2 stars, in this, like,
also,
Which might lead to. Well, go ahead because I'm about to change the subject.
well, I'm just curious. Like, so they suck the life out of the star. Do they then just move this fucking gun to a new planet?
The planet itself can move, I believe.
Not very fast. Like,
Yeah, it's
definitely way
slow.
slower than the Death Star. could.
Okay, that's didn't
Because,
know that.
I mean-
I guess I didn't realize that, because like that's what was so confusing. I was like, it doesn't make any sense that they're destroying the sun that this planet is, because essentially then they only have just so many shots or whatever. And I guess they even say that they're like, well, we can only shoot this just so many times, but we don't need to
They
shoot
have
it
to
a bunch of
recharge.
times, right?
Yeah.
We just need to shoot it the correct amount of times until everybody fucking goes back to believing in the Empire.
Mhm.
But I just feel like, I know it sounds weird, but like this was a little too far fetched for me. Like,
I
you could
agree.
be-
Yeah.
You could have easily just said, "Oh, we're draining the energy from the core of the planet," which I, for some reason, would have. But since this thing is literally dug into the planet,
and then they could have had it pop out of the planet and punch into another planet to do it again.
This is the problem with J.J.
Right.
Abrams in the sci-fi space is he has to create a visual about light and dark being the like end time. He did it with Star Trek too. The first Star Trek, the freaking Romulans are draining the sun of whatever to kill Vulcan, the Vulcan planet. Like, it's the same thing. Like, they have to like beat the timer. Like, oh, once the sun's gone, then that's it. And it's like a beam going up, and they like do a sword fight on it. I'm like, J.J. Abrams is just stuck on this same kind of.
Well, yeah, because even Poe says, as long as there's still light, there's still hope. When he was talking about them draining the sun.
Yeah. I don't know,
Well, that's only because they knew once the sun was fully drained, then the weapon.
Sure,
is
but
about
also
fire.
also light side and dark side of the Force. As long as there's still light, there's still hope.
But my
Like-
problem is too, like, if they drain just like 90% of the sun, like, if they like blew the planet up, would like the 90% go back to where the sun is supposed to be, or would like there just be the sun like flares floating around? Because it doesn't make sense. Because the thing is, like, you're saying either 0 is in the planet or 100% is in the planet. What happens if they only drain like 50% of it? Like, what then? What does it go back? Like, it makes no sense.
Never. Yeah, I would have, like, because you could still have done like light and dark, life and death with like draining the core of the planet. I think you could have still worked it, and it would have made a little more sense. Last thing about the gun, and then I'll move on. They seemed really fucking close to that beam going off that like literally devastates planets or whatever.
Oh, when Hux
Yeah.
was giving his Hitler speech, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. By the way, like, if they
That
were
Hitler
No,
never,
I'm
speech is
sorry,
crazy.
not Hitler speech, Donald Trump speech.
I mean,
Well, no, that's
yeah,
not true. None of them
but-
left, so never mind.
I would say that's
So-
not true either, because Hitler was way smarter than Trump was.
That's 100% true.
Yeah, that's not hard. A baboon throwing shit's smarter. But I don't
anyway.
really. I just they seem so close. They seem so close, and I would feel like that would just eradicate their entire bodies.
They would have been microwaved. Yeah.
I feel like though it's like a perspective thing. Like when you see like an atomic bomb go off and it's like super far away, it still feels really close because it's such a large scale. I feel like they were far enough away. It's just such a large beam. It looked.
They were on the planet outside while this thing that has the power of an entire sun was going off less than a planet away from them.
I feel like it would.
You gotta understand, if our planet was that close to a sun, the whole thing would cease to exist.
Sure, but this planet has snow all over it.
And none of it melts. Yeah,
no, exactly. It's very cold snow.
So they don't actually have an atmosphere there, except for when it's convenient.
Yeah,
I mean, they could have easily just been like, "Yeah, there's a force field around everything that isn't the gun."
There
like,
is
maybe.
You have that like bar that goes around.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that helps. Like
divert it's just a little.
That's the planet's health bar. Yeah,
it's the visor. It's like
a chunky
visor.
You got it off Amazon. It might not actually protect your
It's actually made out of the same stuff RoboCop's visor was made out of.
That's true.
Yeah,
exactly.
I
don't know. The gun. It's a little silly, and it took me a minute to like kind of get on board with it. So
that's fair.
So we brought up that this was going to destroy the sun and erase the system because the planets kind of need that sun to survive.
Yeah.
One thing I was thinking, BB-8 early on, he had the map to Luke, but I think 3PO says that this map doesn't line up with any known system in the galaxy. And in my head, I'm like, well, that makes no sense. Just find the system, find the one area that's like blacked out that you don't,
only
that you
missing
can't.
a chunk.
Yeah,
they already didn't they have this problem in the prequels too? Oh, we seem to be missing a planet.
Yeah, but that's because someone actually got rid of it.
Well, they erased it from the archives.
Yeah,
this one here, I was just thinking when we were talking about it, is that if the Starkiller base is erasing systems, blowing up systems, then there's going to be nothing on the map. So maybe that could kind of indicate why they couldn't match up.
Yeah, I guess it's like they had like, if we were to take a map that was made in like 1884, it might not line up to how the world looks today. So it'd be really hard to figure out where everything is. I don't know.
I also want to point out that BB-8 was trying to end the movie like an hour before, or maybe a couple hours before, because he was, just could have just woke up R2 and be like, "Hey, you got the map?"
R2 needed the proper time, which brings up a point that I did not know. The MacGuffin of this whole movie is everyone wants to find Luke Skywalker. Why do we need to find Luke Skywalker? What's the point? He's just off doing.
Kylo Ren wants to kill him.
Okay.
Leia wants to fuck him.
Okay.
Rey wants him to train her. Finn wants to fuck. No.
I mean, I feel like Rey wanted a dad figure with Han.
But Snoke wants to find Luke so bad. Like, we can't let them. The Resistance cannot find Luke first.
Well, isn't Snoke just like a fucked up Palpatine clone?
He is, and I guess. Oh, okay, that makes sense. That like he just wants revenge on Luke.
Right. I mean, I think it's more yes, it's Luke, but I think it's also more the theory of Skywalker. Like it's not much like how it is for Vader to Kylo Ren, which we'll get into that in a second. But it's not so much the idea that they want to specifically find Luke Skywalker. They want to make sure that the what Luke represents is also fucking gone.
Yeah. Okay. The Jedi are dead. That's what they want. Right. Because the Jedi at this point are dead.
But here's the other thing that bothers me too, because this is what happens. The same thing that happened with Order 66. The Jedi are wiped out, except for Luke and Leia and Yoda and Obi-Wan. And then other stuff comes out, and you're like, oh, actually, there's this guy and this guy and this girl and this girl and this guy and this girl.
Right. And we have actually like Inquisitors running around actually killing a bunch of Jedi.
And I feel like this is the same thing. They were like, oh, the last Jedi is Luke. No, there's still a bunch of them running around, Force sensitive people, like just running around.
But that's the thing. There's Force sensitive people. There's no Jedi. Luke was the last trained Jedi at this time. Like we didn't know where Ahsoka was doing.
Trained Jedi.
I say trained.
The sacred texts.
Right. I believe we have discussed it that like Jedi is like a title kind of thing. Yeah. Like everyone's Force sensitive, but Or
because
Jedi is like a title
my
of like
problem
you,
with
Maz
that
is
you learned
force
your
sensitive
craft.
in this.
My problem would be like, oh, he's like the last Catholic, but there's still like Baptists and Lutherans around. I'm like, I don't know. It's close enough.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, if you really hated him, you'd get rid of everybody. You know what I mean? Like,
Exactly.
yeah.
All force sensitivity gone.
yeah, gone.
Yeah, because obviously, like, we've got Leia who's force sensitive, Maz who's force sensitive, Rey who becomes force sensitive. In the next movie, we get that one kid, and then we get a couple other people, and then
Well,
we
Finn
get
is
Finn.
technically a little force sensitive, and
We
then
find
so
it out
is-
by the end.
Yeah, Lando's bastard daughter, I think, is also.
Maybe. What really gets me though is that Poe, I think, has to be a little force sensitive.
To fly
for
like
two
he
reasons.
flies and shoot like he shoots.
There's that. The other reason is in there was a comic series that came out, Shattered Empire, I believe is what it was called. 4-issue miniseries that came out like the minute Disney got the rights to Star Wars, and it's about Poe's parents and his mom, who was a great pilot. She helps Luke go to Coruscant to grab force trees from the Jedi Temple. There is one that's spoken for. I don't think we ever figure out who that goes to, but the other one is given to Poe's parents, and they go into, I can't remember what planet, and they plant there.
Yavin, I think.
So, oh yeah, you're right.
Because he grows up on Yavin.
So Poe has been around this force tree his entire life, and you're telling me he's not force sensitive?
What's a force tree?
Has he been eating the fruit off the force tree? That's the
Maybe.
real indicator.
That sounds like something a Jedi pastor would say to.
Yeah, thanks, Ron. Here's the fucking thing. This is why I fucking hate the Jedi and the fucking Force and most of everything that has to do with Star Wars. Why can't somebody just be fucking good at something? Why can't Poe just be a goddamn good pilot and a good shot? Why do we have to incorporate this conversation of like, and I'm not yelling at you specifically, Joey, but like,
you're good.
but like, I hate this fucking idea. It's like, oh well, he must be force sensitive. No,
Well,
man,
that's
he's
because
been training his entire fucking life to do
it's
this.
it's the same reason. It's the same reason why when a doctor saves somebody's life, they thank God.
Exactly.
Okay.
And I fucking
Because you can't do it without him.
But wait, hang on. There are fighter pilots like Wedge Antilles. He made it through all those battles on not force sensitive. Nin Yub is still here. And he's doing a great job, and he's not force sensitive.
But the argument could be like, oh, they must be force sensitive. They must be tapping into something. It's like, faith or luck or whatever. But maybe it is. Maybe it's luck. But then they're just like, well, that's the force. No, it's not. Maybe he's just fucking good at something.
And you can't be good at something. And if according to Qui-Gon in Phantom Menace, everybody has it in them. Just some people have more than others.
Yeah,
and
we know you have to have space aids or whatever to get to be able to unlock it.
And some people like they're able to tap into it. That's why they're able to tell the difference between Jedi and Sith and all that.
It's just, but it's my same argument about religion. Like,
no, you're not wrong.
Like Ron.
I mean, and I'm not saying he has to be force sensitive. I'm just saying that I'm not saying it's convenient, but it would.
Right. It's plot armor,
basically.
Yeah, but it's just like we literally just listed every main character in this could be possibly force sensitive. Dumb, stupid. I just want Poe Dameron to be fucking cool and shoot stuff. And like,
I think that's why they.
If that's the case, then fucking Han is because he was dipping his dick in fucking Leia for so long. He must have picked up some ability to sense the Force.
Oh, I'm sure he picked up something. Oh
no, those those Star Wars contraceptives, they're really good. They
I mean,
clearly something fucked up.
He had one
because
kid,
one time she forgot to take her birth control, her Star Wars Force birth control.
Yeah, and then they just made Baby Hitler too. You know what I mean?
Yes,
like it's
exactly. Oh,
I'm kind of sad they didn't have the twins though.
Oh yeah, was it Jason and what? Jada? No,
Jason and oh crap, I can't remember
or something like that.
Jason was the boy. I can't remember the girl's name.
It started with a J.
I thought it was Jada and Jason, but I could be wrong. Maybe I'm thinking of Jada Pinkett Smith and.
But this also brings up the other interesting thing I found in this movie in the rewatch is essentially Vader the redemption of Episode 6 means absolutely fucking nothing.
Well, okay, so this is how I kind of like this. Kylo Ren was never told that Vader turned on the Emperor. Like, he's running off of false information.
Which is bullshit, because his parents would have been telling that story every fucking Thanksgiving and every Christmas.
I don't think so, because I think that there's actually in like The Mandalorian or something where Luke kept it hush hush. He said we can't tell anyone about what happened with Vader. Like we can't say pretty much everyone who knows he's Anakin is either dead or it's the three of us, and we are not going to let that out.
But it just seems weird because he knows that Vader is his grandfather.
Sure, but what I mean though is like
that could be from Snoke though.
That's what I'm saying. It's like he didn't know Vader was his grandfather until Snoke told him, but he only told him like, yeah, Luke killed him, which is why he's so mad at his uncle Luke. It's because like you killed my grandfather. Like, what makes you think you have the right to do that? And then he sees Luke trying to kill him.
Yeah, I think he's pretty more mad at Luke standing over him with a lightsaber. But
yes.
Okay, but also
it's Jason and Jaina. It was the other one.
Jaina.
Right.
Okay, so Darth Vader's burnt up helmet.
Yeah,
looks
how the hell
like
did he get that.
Looks like he should be called Darth Hillbilly. Like, it seriously looks like a like 6-tooth like.
I imagine so. Kylo we've seen in other movies. He's kind of going out and getting a lot of artifacts. I imagine he just went to Endor and found like the pyre he was burned on and got the mask out of there. That's what I imagine.
But how's his mask still? I mean, I feel like it should have been
slagged,
damaged more. Yeah, gone.
No, it's made of vibranium, so I mean, it's totally fine.
By the looks of it, it looks like somebody tried to stomp the teeth out of it. Maybe they put it out after his body burnt up out of the.
So, I mean, vibranium real strong, right? And the whole thing.
Yeah,
allegedly.
And that's what. That's they
so
using vibranium there.
Look how
was the shock stick that Finn fights also made of vibranium? Because for some reason that lightsaber doesn't go through that shock stick at all.
So it's got the electrical end, but when he's hitting the middle of it, it still doesn't break or cut
he
through.
literally is arm blocking like a nightstick.
The real Star Wars one is what? What is it? Not Kevlar. That's the real world. What's
Beskar?
Because vibranium's Marvel, and then they
Beskar.
Beskar.
There's also something else.
It might be made of Beskar. I don't know.
There's no way they're giving fucking stormtroopers
Yeah, no way.
Beskar.
The poor doesn't have any more money. Whatever, Empire First Order is giving out that shit to jabroni number 47-528 fucking nuts.
JZ 2997.
Yeah, to go fucking battle.
Is that your birthday, Jordan?
No, it's not. I just picked 4 random.
Oh, okay.
I was born 2,997.
No, I meant
it doesn't get better, guys.
It'd be February 9th, 97 for those of us that.
Oh my gosh, I'd be way younger than I am right now. I don't
know how old you are. You look like a little kid to Joey and I.
I know. I'm in my mid-30s, man.
Really, Joey?
Yeah. Yours is blonde to begin with. It just blends.
No, it used to be red. You just can't tell anymore because there's no red left in it.
Yeah, that's fair.
You know what I'm going to bring up? Because
anyway,
apparently,
my point was...
What do you want to bring up, Jordan?
I want to know Chuck's point.
Oh, okay.
Oh, my point was I also enjoyed that concept that Vader, the redemption of Vader didn't mean anything, and that he is seen as this in death he becomes a symbol of power still. Everything that he allegedly turned against and everything, his redemption is him becoming good wasn't ever seen. Him as a ruthless dictator, an evil person, is what is carried on, and that's the thing that was glorified. And
all about the history books,
right. And I enjoy that a lot. I
feel like it was hard for Luke to convince. Oh yeah, no, Vader actually turned good. He was fine. He wasn't bad anymore. Even though he killed so many people.
I know it does seem convenient to be like, no, he's fine now, guys.
Is it not the Batman theory, the Dark Knight theory of Batman needs to be the bad guy so we can have to, we can have Harvey Dent's name not be dragged through the mud. Maybe we can't, like, maybe we have to keep Vader the bad guy so we can feel like we actually did win this.
But with Harvey Dent, he killed, like, anybody he killed, they died. They don't know, like, the rest of the city doesn't know Harvey Dent went crazy. And then Gordon, obviously, they know. Versus the whole universe knows that Darth Vader was killing people.
Do we know that Leia and Han actually know that Vader turned good at the end? Or is Luke literally the only one? Because Han even says he's got too much Vader in him. He was like, oh yeah, like Leia's like, oh, I still have hope that he'll come around. He's like, I think there's too much Vader in him to have any hope. Maybe Luke never told, because he goes off by himself. Luke goes off by himself and burns Vader. Maybe he never said anything to anyone, and just like he's the only one who knows this.
God, what a dick.
Yeah, but also like
he has to stay that way, so it sounds like we defeated the Emperor,
right?
The Empire,
and also, who the fuck is gonna believe him?
Yeah.
Do you want to admit that the worst dictator, ruthless motherfucker who killed thousands, countless, blew up planets was my dad?
Yeah.
No, guys. Remember all that horrible stuff he does? He's sorry about it, and now he's dead, so we don't have to worry about it. Nobody's gonna fucking believe. That's insane.
Look, okay. This is how it works, okay? Christianity showed us that as long as before you die, you repent your sins, you go to heaven.
Well, we do know that there was a hell, so
yes, we do know that. Sorry, I was going to say though, if you think about it from our viewpoint, if someone were to come to us and say, right before, to your point, Ron, right before Hitler died, he repented of his sins and became a Christian right before, and then died saved. I think all of us would go, I don't care. That doesn't matter. Like, one, I don't believe you. Two, what does that matter? He still killed all these people. Like, that doesn't make up for anything. It's the same thing with Vader. It's like, who would care? It'd be like, oh, but he turned good at the end. Yeah, so what? He still did terrible things. Like, so what?
And realistically, I guess, 4, 5, and 6 is about Luke. So Luke got his closure. That's all that matters. And the rest of the planets in galaxy got their closure. Vader's dead. You know what I mean? So,
but they didn't, because now you have the First Order that just took over where the Empire stopped, and the rebel never became not the rebel.
That works. Isn't that weird?
Well, so what they had to do is the remnants of the Empire, and they say at the very beginning, they hid away. They had to rebuild, and then they came back. And what really got me is that there's a resistance going on while the Republic is still ruling, if you will. There's a resistance to the First Order. Wouldn't the First Order be the resistance to the Republic?
Yeah.
Technically?
Well, I think the resistance was the fact that the Republic was not willing to do anything about this threat, because they were saying this isn't really like anything that's bad. And the resistance were the people who were like, no, we're going to take this into our own hands. We're sick of this red tape, this bureaucracy. We're going to go do something about this. I think that's what the resistance was, is they're resisting the political, like, hierarchy, essentially.
I think I remember that because they talked about that in the Aftermath trilogy.
Because it's very clear that they had no fucking plan. They were just like, oh, we need to stop the Empire, and then we'll figure it out, and we'll just go back to the way things were.
They went back to exactly the way the things were before.
Right, which didn't work the first time. It wasn't working.
Nope.
So why would you go back? And sure enough,
they knew. That's all they knew.
Why is no one putting research and development money into like a shield around a planet to protect you from a giant laser gun? At this point, it's happened enough. I'm like, why is this not a thing that we're trying to deal with here?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay, so Kylo Ren could just stop a blaster bolt.
Dude, that
was cool.
Awesome.
I thought that was so cool.
But then never does it again after that.
Yeah, because he didn't charge his meter. His strength meter didn't get recharged. That's why.
Yeah.
Because not only does he stop the blaster bolt, he stops Poe as well, and he does stop Rey later on with the same kind of move.
Right? Yeah, he had to dip out of the ring, and then he had to taunt spam a bunch to build up his meter so he could hit a special. His special is stopping. But he can only do that once per game.
He can only read people's minds, which is why he knew Poe was going to shoot. He can't read Wookiees' minds. So when Chewbacca shoots him,
all he hears is,
it's a weird, like, it just doesn't
know Wookiee.
Yeah.
Well, see, that's because Chewie's actually his real dad. Look, think about how Leia responded to Chewie when she saw him compared to how she responded to Han when she saw him. Just saying.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I don't care what anybody says. Kylo Ren's lightsaber is fucking stupid.
Oh, I
like it.
think as aesthetically it's really cool, but as a concept, it makes no sense whatsoever.
Yeah,
They're heat ports. They're heat ports because his kyber crystal is bad because he put too much anger into it, and now
I thought it was like broken or something. I can't remember.
Yeah, the crystal's cracked.
Yeah, the crystal's cracked, and it's the only crystal he has, which is why he had
Right.
to.
Yeah, because because he was too angry when he bled the crystal and cracked it, and now it shoots anger out the sides of his blade because he's so angry.
I think it looks.
I think
cool.
it just would have been cool
I think
if they
it's
just
dumb.
left. I think it would have been cooler if they like instead of making that the excuse of just being like, no, he just wants to look fucking cool and wanted a broadsword like Claymore. Like, just
I mean, honestly, they
make
already
it
saying
the
he's
thing
like
that it
LARPing.
is. I don't know.
That's essentially what he's
I
doing.
froze
Is like
that.
high level LARPing at this point. So just
That's
stick
true.
it.
He doesn't.
So-
he doesn't need the mask. He doesn't need.
Mm-mm.
So, talk about Kylo. We see the Knights of Ren in here for a split
And
second.
How's it been 8
In
years
her
and we
vision.
haven't learned more about them yet?
But we kind of do in comics. Again, it's
in a movie or a
Chuck's-
TV show. How have we not heard
Cru-
anything about
it's
them?
Chuck's favorite or worst favorite thing that you're getting all this information outside of the movies. And
Yeah.
it's
This.
I,
What the fuck are the
Chuck-
Knights of? What the fuck are the Knights of Ren?
See,
So-
I'm fine learning about Bib Fortuna's backstory in a book. When it's like an integral plot point about like this group of people that Kylo is apparently like lord over, I'm like, we need to learn a little bit more, like the main lines.
Ron, remember the dope dudes that Kylo ends up fighting in the last one? They look like
The ones that were around the Emperor.
in armor.
The ones
No.
that have like the
Yes.
mace,
Yes.
like all the like medieval kind of.
black,
Yeah, okay.
black outfits.
Yeah,
Those are the Knights of Ren.
yeah, that's
They're all
them.
this like the group themselves in the Star Wars lore. They go around all the star systems looking for Sith objects. They're
Isn't
pretty
Ren?
badass.
Isn't Ren a sword or a lightsaber or something?
No.
Ren refers to
Kylo-
an actual.
Isn't his name
object.
Kylo Ren?
Yeah, but Ren is like, you know how like Darth whatever was like the Sith thing? In the Knights of Ren, everyone has a name Ren, something Ren, because
can't
Ren
remember.
is something that they all like worship or something like that.
Again, there's a comic of it because the guy he kills, the Ren that he kills to become the leader is like fucking badass.
Yeah, Gary
But-
Ren.
Yeah, basically. He created the D&D
Yeah.
system.
Yeah, I was just really angry. Like, I was really aggravated that this entire trilogy is like an introduction of something that's supposed to be cool, and we don't get
And
any
nothing comes
information
of
about
it. Yeah.
it.
Again,
And then
J.J.
and then
Abrams.
they just
This
die.
is Lost, Star Wars edition, like introducing a
Yeah.
million things and never following through with them.
Yeah, because even when we get the Knights back in the final movie, we don't get any more information with them.
No, they're just like, hey,
we
they're-
literally have
they're palling
nothing
around.
with these guys.
Mm-mm.
They walk. They're dudes with weapons walking around. That's all they were, and I was so mad about it.
Yep,
But-
it could have been so cool.
And
I
so,
got a
do we
question,
see
though.
them? Wait, do we see them? Or they?
this-
I
in
know
the
he
flashback.
mentions them. Oh, it's a flashback. Okay, I must.
Yeah, it's
So-
when
so it's a
Rey gets the
flashback?
lightsaber and she
Yep.
sees when Luke's Jedi temple's destroyed. She sees the group of the Knights of Ren being led by Kylo
killing a
during,
bunch of
like,
other people
during
Yeah.
the siege,
okay.
killing
Actually,
all the other Jedi.
killing people on Jakku, if I remember correctly.
Mhm.
Which still doesn't make sense because that lightsaber wouldn't have been there.
You mean in Maz Kanata's castle?
No, the lightsaber wouldn't have been in Luke's training area because he had lost that lightsaber long before that. So why would the memories be tied to that?
So the memories aren't tied to the actual lightsaber. The memories are tied to the people who are connected to the lightsaber. Because
She
she
was
has a
also
memory
seeing
of
visions.
herself.
So then it doesn't work like the memory stuff works in
Mm-mm.
Fallen Order.
No, it doesn't. It's different.
So we just have all these special magical fucking powers
This
that.
was I felt that this was more Rey's force abilities being unlocked by a very powerful force object.
Yes.
I mean, yeah, you kill enough kids with something and it becomes a cursed object. So that makes sense.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's a
So,
Horcrux or whatever.
So when Kylo is torturing Poe why did it look like Poe was ready to come?
I think
Isn't
probably was.
that
He was
what?
like,
Yeah, I mean, come on, that makes sense to me. Pain is pleasure, man.
getting the Force choke.
And how old are Rey and Kylo supposed to be?
So Kylo is
20s, mid-20s,
mid to late 20s, and Rey I think
just
is
like 19,
early 20s. Yeah,
early, 1920.
Okay.
Well, you got to make her legal because absolutely they're going to objectify her. So
100%.
Yeah, they learned
but
their
I'm-
lesson in the prequels with Jake Lloyd.
Yes, I want to ask about when the First Order first fall, very beginning, they come on Jakku. They're attacking that little
I'm
village.
sorry, what?
They come on Jakku. I said it. They're attacking that little village, and we see Poe, who's shooting a bunch of guys, like crack shot hitting them right in the neck, making them drop. The one guy that drops right next to Finn, and he goes to like help him, I guess. How did the guy's glove get tore up, and how did blood get on it? So that he can do the Simba on Finn. I had no idea.
Oh, so what happened was he fell against one of the broken structures, which cut through the gap in his armor. He put his hand on there because it hurt.
But he didn't.
I know.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. I'm like, so the one stormtrooper in all of history that bleeds just happens to be on Finn. That seems convenient.
Yeah.
well, but we do know that they are that they're a crack shot, and B, that their guns were set to kill, not to concuss, which would make sense of why everything up to this point has been set on stun, and why, because this is the first time that we actually finally see some like blaster action happen that actually burns holes in armor. Because when Chewie just like point blank shoots somebody with a bowcaster, it blows a hole in his chest.
Yes.
And it was
Also-
fucking awesome.
Can I bring up the fact that Han at no point ever shot
Ever shot the bowcaster?
ever in the
Right?
50
Have
years
you
they've
never
been together?
heard? You never touch a Wookiee's bowcaster. You
And he
never.
just takes it. Like he's just like, hey, can I borrow that? And Chewie just gives it up. They're in the middle of a battle. What are you doing, Chewie?
Again, that's the Marvel moment of it all. It makes
Yeah.
no sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it was cool though.
But
Although-
speaking of shooting,
Although, tell me how checked out Harrison Ford was that he doesn't even try to figure out how he's going to hold that gun to shoot it, because he's not even looking down either of the sights.
No.
Why are there
Yeah.
two sights, by the way? That doesn't make any sense.
Uh,
like
we
two
have
the
two
Wookiees
eyes.
Wookiees can shoot. Yeah.
One for each.
it's two different distances.
Is that the theory? Okay.
Probably.
Sure, but okay. So Finn has a Jar Jar moment when he's learning how to shoot the TIE fighter guns, and just blows out the whole deck of the command deck of the little TIE fighter area that they're in. What if Finn is also like Jar Jar, where he's actually a Sith Lord in disguise?
Well, that would explain why he's force sensitive, like everybody else in this movie.
His actions did lead the path down, killing Snoke. Maybe he is. He's trying to take them out so he can be the one true Sith Lord.
I don't know.
What if
I'll take it.
Jar Jar trained him all along?
Ooh.
It's satirical. You know what I mean?
If I say it's satirical, then it's fine, right?
Yeah,
right,
totally.
exactly. It's
You
like,
can say
oh,
whatever you
it's
want after that.
satirical.
I think that's Chuck's rule.
I think I'm gonna.
Also, I will give Finn props, though. He did have his priorities straight when he was trying to find out why Rey wanted to get back to Tatooine number 2. When he's like, you got family there, you got a boyfriend. Is he a cute boyfriend? Like,
A hot boyfriend. Yeah.
yeah, he's like, just, I mean, like, do I have a chance? Like, are you going back because of love?
It is 100% the meme of "I'm just thinking with my dick" song. Like, I'm willing to literally risk the entire like devastation of a planet if there's a chance.
Well, dude, that motherfucker, like, he does it twice. First, he does it when he's first talking to her. He lies to her about being part of the resistance because
Listen,
he's
a sailor on a 3-day pass, man. Like he's
right. And then he convinces the whole resistance. Oh yeah, man, I can shut down the shields, no sweat. I know exactly what I'm doing. And then they get there, and he's like, "Oh, dude, I'm just here for the pussy."
Well, that's the Force.
And
take care of
why?
it. That's not how the Force works.
Yeah, and most importantly, he's doing it just because a girl smiled at him? Like the most toxic girl in the universe because she just smiled at him?
Okay, real quick pause. Simon just sent me a message that flashed across my screen, and he's like, Finn is for real the Maximus from the Fallout show.
Oh God.
Oh fuck, he is. Yeah.
Oh man.
Oh shit.
Why has everybody got a British accent in this movie? By the way.
Except the people who are British and don't have a British accent, like
Yeah.
John Boyega. It's the Star Wars universe. Everyone either is British or
The
American.
evil, the Empire is British, and
Well, Rey's British.
But she is
Palpatine's kid, yeah.
We'll find out later.
So,
grandkid, whatever.
Quick note on that. I remember the first time, well, technically second time I watched this, talking with my friends in Alabama. Emily and I were on their podcast after the movie. We went back to I think their house and record something, and I brought up as a not like a joking thing, but as like, you know, the way that Rey was stalking Kylo there at the final battle, like, hey, maybe she's a Palpatine, like maybe that's just a, you know, maybe that kind of thing, maybe that's her lineage.
Ingrained into her blood that she's got to kill Skywalkers.
Kinda. And then 2 years later, come to find out, oh yeah, she's a Palpatine. I'm like, what?
You knew.
We'll get there.
See, you must be Force sensitive.
Maybe I am.
Yeah.
Be great. But I do. Okay, so I do want to talk about when Rey and Finn first meet Han, because they both knew Han
as two different people.
Contexts, yeah. Rey knew him as a smuggler.
Didn't this make the Kessler run in 14 parsecs? 12.
But yeah, but like Rey knew him as a smuggler because she is a scavenger. It's a story that she would know. And Finn knew him as the resistance hero because he is part of an army. He would know the you know, all of the war stuff. So like that, I just found that.
Well, you know, and you know Kylo was shitting on his dad all the time.
See, I don't think he was.
100%.
Do you really think a grunt like Finn was ever in a room with Kylo Ren?
No, but it would have trickled down. And so, cause it would start with Kylo Ren in a room with like whatever guards are around him, and then they'd be like, "Yeah, did you hear that Kylo Ren? There's this dude named Han Solo that apparently pissed him off a lot, killed Vader and shit." And then everybody else is like, "Oh yeah, this dude's like a hero of the Resistance." And then here's Han not being good at anything ever in his life except for flying and shooting, and he doesn't even do the smuggling thing good. Like, I don't know how he became a revered smuggler when everything that we've ever seen of him, he fucks up.
He's constantly owing the people who hire him tons of money.
Right?
Why do people keep hiring him? I don't understand.
That's the Kanji Club. I love that part. So great.
Yeah,
you're right. He swindles.
Name dropping. Oh, I got Han Solo on the case.
Yeah, he swindles money out of everybody all the time.
Yeah.
And somehow it works. For the most part.
I did like the dudes. So like they're on the freighter and those two gangs show up or whatever.
Yeah.
I did dig the dudes with the red helmets. I thought those were like a really cool like costume design.
Yeah, the non-Kanji Club, whatever the other group was called. I don't.
Yeah, whatever. With the Scottish dude, with the stereotypical Scottish dude who wants to fight. Yeah. Although it's so fucking like Warhammer-ish, but why does the leader not wear a helmet?
Well, you know what's funny too? That
so you knew who he was
of Firefly, because they all were like very like I don't know why it did remind me of Firefly. I was like, there's these weird like groups out there where they're like based off of ethnicity. That feels very Firefly.
Well, sure, but also the fact of Mal would be definitely like screwing over multiple groups of people,
everyone,
and they would come at the same time to try and like take him out. Like, it just makes sense.
Yes, exactly.
So yeah, I don't know.
Did anyone else know at the time before it was leaked that Daniel Craig was a stormtrooper that Rey does the Jedi mind trick on?
No, I still didn't know that until you just told me.
Yeah, Daniel Craig was apparently filming something in London at the Pinewood Studio or wherever they did it, and they were.
I think it was one of the Bond movies.
One of the Bond movies, yeah, and he was just like, "Yeah, I want to be in this," and they put him in a stormtrooper outfit and said, "Here we go. Here's a scene.
Yeah.
Let's do it."
Is he credited?
No.
Good for him.
Yeah, he just did it.
Yeah.
When
Fun
now
little
that
scene.
you know, you can hear his voice. I'm like, oh, that's
Yeah.
totally Daniel
Yeah.
Craig.
Interesting. I didn't know that.
So Rey chews like a fucking monster when she's eating that bread stuff or whatever. She's like,
Dude, if you were starving too, you would do the same thing.
no,
Oh,
I
I'd
would
do
savor
that.
every bite.
Because she barely mixed that thing together, and
Yeah.
I don't think that bread was fully cooked.
I just ate pizza that wasn't fully cooked, so I understand her pain. It's a little dirty.
Yeah.
And the whole with her parents, they'll be back one day thing. That was just like, oh man, is that what they think of when their dad goes and gets the milk and shit? He'll be back one day.
Yeah, Ron, we do. We think he's coming back.
Good job, jerk.
All right.
Oh, I'm so glad that Chuck got that one was aimed at.
Dick. He
Listen,
might
Chuck.
still come back. I don't know.
Ah.
I love it.
Walk.
Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say, I am an advocate for rewriting this series to have Poe and Finn end up together.
Right.
Yes.
I think
They should have.
They should have been shipped. I shipped them from the beginning. Is it coincidence that Poe changes the color of his X-wing to black after he meets Finn? I don't think so.
That sounds kind of racist, though.
They need to be together forever.
Also, did these X-wings look a little more sleek than the original X-wings?
yeah.
Yeah,
they
Because,
had
like, I thought
the
they looked pretty
engines.
slick.
So the original design was supposed to be the engines. There were only two on each side, and they broke in half when the X-wing went up. But they couldn't get it to work on the original movie, so they had quad engines. So that when they split up, there was like a whole engine on each one. They did the original design. It looked so much sleeker. It looked so much cooler. I thought that all
Yeah.
the X-wing designs were great in this movie.
Yep.
Yeah,
100%.
this movie reminded me how much I love low orbit space battles, like ship
Mhm.
battles. Like that last scene where they're just like, all right, fucking go right at him, don't be scared. And like we're getting this like low orbit battle is so dope. It's what I loved it in Rogue One too. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
When
well, 'cause
they
it-
actually
it-
get
it-
through the shield and they're going down.
It's a dogfight. Like,
Mhm.
Yeah.
that's all it is.
Dogfights are inherently
Yeah,
fucking
and they're
cool. We
awesome.
don't get to see them
Yeah.
good.
Except for that movie Red Tails, which was not good.
Really, I never did.
I didn't
watch
like it.
Okay.
Is that with the chipmunks?
No,
No,
no, it was a George Lucas movie after Star Wars where it's literally like World
It's
War
supposed to
II
be like-
dogfighting.
yeah, it's supposed to be like the first Black Air Force
Mm-hmm.
from World War II or something like that.
The story was whatever. The action scenes were really good, but like the story just they didn't put enough effort into the story, in my opinion.
Ah, that sucks.
Oh, I do vaguely remember this. Okay. Didn't he get nominated for like an Academy?
Well, I
Award?
think because the cinematography
story?
was crazy in it.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
Okay. I think that's gone through all my notes. Ron, you got any more?
Oh, Jesus Christ, yes.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, so when after Chewie gets shot and he's sitting there talking to the nurse, and like he's explaining everything to her like he's like this big bad like war hero and stuff. She's like, "Oh yeah, that sounds real dangerous."
Yeah.
Oh yeah, like talking to him like he's a little kid. That shit cracked me up.
That's really good.
So those Rathtar things when Finn and Rey first meet Han and Chewie on the thing. Everybody else, they kill and eat and chew up right there.
No,
But when
there were
they-
a couple they dragged.
Mm-hmm.
Really?
Yeah,
there
there
were
was
a
a few
bunch
they-
they were dragging actually.
They're
Because there was,
dragging
like,
away.
you were like,
Oh, yeah, I just thought they were pulling them because they already had one in their mouth that they were eating.
No, they were dragging them away for later.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Never mind then. Because when they grabbed Finn and just started running with him, I was like,
yeah, exactly. I get that, but no, they were dragging a few of them around.
I
Well,
thought that
and
was
they
a
were
fun-
running. Like they were running. I think they're supposed to be based off like how octopus hunt. So octopus like latch on and grab, but then they immediately go away so they can't be attacked while they're eating. I think it's the same theory. I just
Okay.
watched that on the Discovery
I thought
Channel
it was
the other
really
day.
funny though when Ray like he goes over and Finn just like, did you see that? And she's like, yeah, that was lucky.
Yeah.
She
No,
just
for-
do it.
Again,
It's the
the
Force.
Marvel jokes in this movie, just
Yeah.
quick one-liners.
Quick one-liners.
so if BB-8 was so valuable to Rey even before she found out what he had, why did she constantly let him out of her sight? Like
Well,
when she goes chasing after.
Because she's not a good mother. That's why.
I was gonna
Okay,
say,
that's fair.
She's
Well,
a
she didn't have a very good-
19-year-old. We all were not very responsible at that age.
Yeah, I constantly let my nephew run into traffic because I'm not paying attention. Are you kidding me? Let alone a little tiny robot that just runs around like an insane lunatic.
We do get a little bit of a prop to the older movies where when Finn and Rey first get the Millennium Falcon and they're shooting at the TIE fighters, and he hits the one and she's like, nice shot, and then he's like, woo! And it just made me think of Han and
so many
Luke,
Easter eggs in this
Yeah.
video.
Don't get cocky, kid.
Don't get penisy, kid.
Doesn't he say something similar to that? Doesn't Poe say something similar, or not Poe? Rey say something similar to him of like,
No,
I don't think so.
just like,
no, it played in my head because I'm so used to hearing
yeah,
that.
maybe I'm just
Can't watch these movies objectively anymore. We have like
God,
commentaries going on the whole time.
yeah, that's very true.
When they're talking about light speed travel into hyperspeed travel into the atmosphere of the planet,
Mhm.
and they're like, "Is that even possible?" And Han's like, "I don't ever ask that question. She'll have already done it." That was kind of a very Han line.
Very Han, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Never
because he
tell
also
me
did
the
the same thing earlier when he went went into hyperspeed, light
Yeah,
speed
inside the hangar.
out of the hangar.
Yeah. And then there was the when Rey first sees a planet that's not a desert, and she's like, "I didn't know there was so much green in the galaxy." Like, do they not have any kind of education system in the galaxy?
Well,
no,
no,
she's
she
a
was-
scavenger.
she was
Sure, but she speaks like 18 different languages.
But she was raised in essentially like a foster home of someone who didn't care to have her there.
That's fair.
She learned the languages because she wanted to learn the languages.
And
to
because
speak
so
to
many
everybody.
people probably speaking the languages came through that port.
That's
And
fair.
I very much have learned that you can learn how to speak languages enough, but like reading and writing language is like,
Okay, that's fair.
Conversational language.
yeah, you can carry a conversation, but that doesn't mean you have any idea what you're actually saying.
When Kylo is interrogating Rey, right? He takes his helmet off and puts it in an ashtray.
It's supposed to be the ashes of everyone he's killed. That's
What I'm saying. But why would you put your helmet in that? Then you're going to get it all over yourself, in your hair,
Actually,
on your.
I'm pretty sure it's the litter box for his cat.
Yeah.
Apparently that's canonical.
space,
He's got
space
Huxley's got a
lubricant.
cat around.
It's
Yeah.
hard to get that helmet on and off, man. It's space lubricant, okay?
And can we also talk about how rapey his line was, where he's like, he says, "I can take what I want from you," and he like the way that he says it and looks at her, I'm just like, dude, like,
Yeah.
Yeah, he was trying
pump
to.
the brakes.
Well, I
Like-
mean, yeah, he was not raised in an environment that told you how to appreciate women.
That's fair. My last note is that Simon also, while we were watching it, was like, Rey's story is written like bad fan fiction,
Mm,
because she meets a hero of old, right?
Mm.
She fixes something that he should have been able to fix, but he can't figure out, so she does it for him, and then he's like, "Hey, good job," and then he dies later.
I would argue that he hasn't been on that ship in so long. She knew what like all of the compressors and everything that Unkar Plutt did to that, so she knew how to bypass it and take care of it all.
Plus, she's force sensitive.
Plus, she's force sensitive. Also, so there is a deleted scene where Unkar Plutt tracks her down on in Maz's castle, and I believe it's Chewie comes up and rips off people's arms.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
But
I want
we
to see
don't.
some.
Why didn't we get that? We need Chewie ripping people's arms
I
off.
wanna see some arms
Yeah.
ripped off.
That
Chewie.
that right there is the callback to the original that I wanted to hear.
Mhm.
Exactly. But no, there is the deleted scene that if you go on Disney Plus, go to the extras, it is there.
Nice.
That's cool.
Yeah.
All right.
That was my last note.
Chuck, you got any more you want to talk about?
Not really. I can think the only other thing is like they really, really try to hone in that like the First Order are literal Nazis. Like
Yeah.
Mhm.
100%. Like they are aesthetically, the way they act, all that stuff. But it's still weird to me that they made so much merchandise with all of that stuff, and people still thought it was like inherently cool.
Mhm.
So, like, just outing yourself that you're a Nazi, by,
have you never looked at like what is that Sword and Knife magazine?
Bud K?
Bud K, yeah, and they have
I'm
like
aware.
7 pages that are nothing but Nazi memorabilia, and it's like,
No. Do you ever read the comment? It's for historical purposes only.
yeah, oh yeah, of course,
Yeah. Listen, I mean,
historically accurate replicas.
right. This is the same thing that I say about historical wargamers. I've never met anybody who plays the Germans in historical wargaming that I didn't also think was a Nazi. Okay? I'm sure there are people who play the Germans who are not, but I've yet to meet those people. Same thing with this. People who get imperial tattoos, it's just like, I get it. You really like fascism. It's fine. It's just weird to me that the company is producing this stuff to sell to children. Just feels weird.
Really?
Nah, it tracks. It's Disney.
It's money. Get capitalism,
Well,
man.
yeah, I know, but I guess it's the wrestling brain of me is like, why do bad guys have merchandise? That doesn't make any sense. But
Because you have to have somebody for the good guys to beat up.
action figures are fine, but it's like T-shirts and like memorabilia. Yeah.
Oh, because people are terrible, Chuck.
Yeah, I know.
Because they wear it
capitalism.
ironically. I buy these things ironically, Chuck.
Yeah.
You're right. It is satirical.
It's satirical, Chuck.
Yeah.
Jordan, you got anything else you want to talk about?
Billy Lord, Carrie Fisher's kid, shows up in this.
That was fun.
Only other thing we didn't mention.
Who?
Apparently, Billy Lord.
I don't know who that is.
She has the braids when they're on the planet. I forget who she interacts with, but before they go off into the space battle, she's like the white chick with blonde braids. It's Carrie Fisher's daughter.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So what I saw in IMDb, because I didn't look at a lot of it, when George Lucas was talking to Mark Hamill about Disney making more movies, he had to quelch his excitement about wanting to come back. But when Lucas said something to Carrie Fisher, within like 5 seconds, she's like, "Yes, I want in. Can we get a role for my daughter as well?" I mean, Billy Lord looks like almost exactly like a young Carrie Fisher.
I know, it's
amazing.
spitting image. It's kind of funny.
Yeah. So
I mean, and plus that they could use her, like they could use her to do prequel stuff. So that, or not prequel, but you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah. I actually thought when it was announced that she was part of Star Wars now, I thought they were going to have her be like
a flashback scene.
A flashback.
Yeah, I thought so too.
Leia, but no, but because her character expands a little bit in the next 2 movies, so she gets
instead of using somebody who looks exactly like Carrie Fisher, let's use CGI that's going to look terrible in 5 years.
Yeah, I am looking. I am interested to see how that holds up in the next movie. I don't
not going to be good.
think it will.
I remember it looking very
bad.
Yeah.
Well,
rough.
not. Yeah, I guess not. I don't know if rough is the right word, but like I call. What did I say it was? Judge Judy filtered. Like it's very like fuzzy and glossy looking. Like if you ever watch Judge Judy, everybody else is in high definition. She looks like they put Vaseline over the lens to like blur her out and put her in like the best light possible because she is a fucking corpse at this point. And it's very funny just the crazy transitions of just like vanity gloss like soap opera camera, then bam, high definition with people who don't have makeup on, and it is wild.
Oh man,
yeah, it's good stuff.
Love it.
Shout out to Judge Judy. I love Judge Judy.
she's an avid listener.
Well, alrighty then.
Probably
that is.
She might be. We don't know.
We got fun.
We have like 12 listeners. It could be one of them.
That's true.
Hey, I just handed out some stickers to people last night, so maybe we'll get like 3 more.
That's my boy.
We'll see.
That's all to hear.
Right. So that being said, let's do our ending stuff. Kill count, total of 141, and I'm sure I missed a couple.
Finally, somebody to surpass Batman.
We've had a few. Every Star Wars one surpassed Batman. What are you talking about?
Yeah, but those are full-blown wars.
Yeah.
Full-blown wars have to surpass Batman, the single one-man
Single
killing
vigilante.
machine.
Yeah.
Yeah. The man
Technically,
I,
Joker
the
is
I
the one that
don't
killed
kill
most
guys,
people.
Batman, you know?
Yeah.
And
Also,
has
we
that-
have- I would say we have two lost limbs with the Rathtar losing a couple tentacles. That's about it.
All right.
Ron? Bingo?
Dead parents and dying mentor, which happen to coincide with each other.
Hey.
Government interference, comic logic, unexplainable science, betrayal by a friend, Scooby-Doo chase scene, because anytime that they're being chased through hallways, it's always going to be a Scooby-Doo chase scene.
Mm-hmm.
Actor playing himself because Han. I mean, we have a reformed bad guy. We have an origin flashback. We have hero kill, fight for control of something, and meme origin.
We also had a Wilhelm scream.
Oh, I didn't get that one.
Every
which-
Star Wars movie.
Yeah, practically everyone. Which meme?
I know what I have to do, but I don't know if I have the strength to do it.
Okay.
And every time I hear that, all I can think of is the bee sting thing. Where it's like, if you get stung on your dick by a bee, apparently it permanently increases the size. And then it's always the picture of Kylo where he's like, I know what I have to do, but I don't know if I have the strength to do it.
Yeah, that's
That's
right.
the ultimate life hack right there.
Isn't also, am I making it up, or the more when he's like more, isn't that
That's-
the meme?
Oh, that's
Last
Last Jedi.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
They all start to blur together.
I feel like there was more in here, but yeah.
Yeah, but that was the one that popped into my head right away.
Okay.
I felt like they should have memed the thing where he's like punching himself in his like wound. Yeah, that should be a meme.
Why?
I
Why
don't
was he
know.
doing that?
I don't know. It's
Like,
so
I
weird.
need to feel pain. Oh,
Yeah.
like, what the fuck you doing, dude?
He wanted to make sure the blood was still coming out of it so that he didn't get any kind of infection.
Yeah, sure.
I don't know, man. I kind of get it. Sometimes when like I stub my toe or something, I just start punching something to feel something else because it just hurts so much. It's like
You
a
don't-
But he
distraction.
was
Yeah,
punching himself in the wound.
Yeah. Like,
That'd be
you're
like
just-
kicking the wall. That'd be like you stubbing your toe and then kicking the wall and be like, you stupid fucking toe.
I've done that. Yeah. Yeah, no, I
course.
like. I don't know. Like,
Maybe he's just a
I really get it.
masochist.
Like you're
Chuck
just you're just mad, and you just like you're so angry that this has happened that the only logical thing to do is to cause yourself more pain by directly putting punishment back on that spot.
Chuck's got way too much testosterone now that he goes to the gym frequently. Like,
Yo, you're telling me my hair's growing back? It's great. It's awesome.
Hey.
Hey,
why
you
have
should
try
we?
it.
Why have you not created a CrossFit like competitor Chuck called Chuck Fit?
That's a lot of work, man. I don't have time for that.
Okay.
No, listen, just put it on. Tie it into the new episodes of Elite Eight,
Yeah.
and you'll get at least 7 people doing it.
Oh, I will say, hey, we recorded 2 more episodes, so only 2 more, and then he'll finally record.
Woohoo!
Oh my gosh,
That took you 2 years.
that's my New Year's resolution right there.
I mean, you're not wrong, but also because the guy who paid the money was just like really starting to rip on Tim about it, and he was just like, "Okay, yeah, we should probably finish this." I was like, "Yeah, yeah, we probably should."
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Chuck, Spawn Cape Continuum.
I mean, this still looks good because it's not that old.
It's fairly recent, yeah.
Yeah, I think the set designs are fucking awesome. I love the
Yes.
practical effects. And the things that are computer generated don't look all that bad. There is like a weird, kind of like we talked about before, but there is like this weird lens or filter over the entire movie that is like super bright, but they do try to dim it. Like, it's interesting. Like, it's like it really does try to make it feel like it's the death of what used to be promising or something. And you really notice it in like first order scenes and stuff like that. So I'm going to say like 36 out of 827 Spawn Capes. I think this really holds up quite well, actually.
You know what's interesting? It just reminded me that I know there were people who I knew that did not like the prequels, and they thought that Max von Sydow's first words in this movie are, "I hope this makes up for like, what was wrong." And they're like, "See,
Yeah.
even Disney's like, hopefully this makes up for the crap that was the prequels and stuff." Like,
I hate people.
why?
Sometimes.
Why?
Yeah.
Why?
So Jordan.
And yet we had no idea what was coming.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Jordan, who's got a bad feeling?
Han has a bad feeling about being eaten by a Rathtar.
Mm-hmm. Very nice.
Does somebody else say something close to it? I feel like they almost do it twice.
I don't recall. I don't.
Does Poe say something to the effect of like having a feeling?
I don't think so.
Like I got a weird feeling or something like that.
I got a weird feeling about this.
Yeah, it was something. It was something to that extent because I was just like, oh, I wonder if Jordan's going to count that. But now I don't remember what it was.
No, I don't think so.
All right, maybe
I don't remember.
maybe I misheard it.
Okay.
Maybe
so-
I'm confusing it with Saw. Like I said, I've been watching Saw for a while, so
Yeah, the
Definitely
first
have some
time,
weird feelings in Saul.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the first time
Yeah,
the guy
yeah,
used to saw on his foot, he's like, "Hey, I got a weird feeling about this.
yeah, it's like bro, this doesn't feel right.
This feels so weird."
You'd think they would have had a bad feeling about it.
Yeah.
but nope, weird.
All right. So
No, he had finally found his redemption. You know what I mean? Now it's just a weird feeling.
True. So Jordan, out of 10, what do you give this?
I think I'm gonna go with like an 8.12. I like this a lot more than I thought I was going to rewatching it. I remember this being not really a great one when I originally saw it, but watching it again, I'm like, no, I thoroughly enjoyed this movie. It felt a lot more, and maybe it's because we're watching all of them so closely now, and we're kind of like
And in order, like we're doing it in
order and
chronological order.
analyzing them. And
Yeah.
now we've had a lot of the TV shows have come out since then. I don't know, but I'm gonna give it an 8.12. I liked it. I thought it was a lot better, and I thought I was going to like it again.
Good. Chuck.
All right, is this a Star Wars movie? Yeah, this is almost like a reskin of the original Star Wars movie. I think that this doesn't hit the same way as it did when I first saw it, and I definitely have not watched it since the first time. So this is like my second viewing.
Okay.
And I think that it is a perfectly fine movie. I think that it is. I think that it hits everything enough for me to like it. Like Low Orbit, I think the fight scenes are awesome. The dogfight was cool. Even the little things like on the freighter with the fucking squid things, that was a good scene. I loved having Han and Chewie back as like, the misfit characters one more time. And I do still remember like being unbelievably devastated when Han died. Like that was like a really like, holy shit, this is really it. And I'm trying to not like have what I know is coming affect. So I'm going to say, oh, I mean, it's not nearly close to my favorite, but I'm going to say 7.2.
Okay.
Like, I really love Poe. I think Finn is an interesting character who is fine. I thought Captain Phasma was going to be the next best thing. I don't know why I thought that, but I just really
Didn't
thought
you like
there was gonna
Boba
be
Fett too?
Yeah, no, I never really. I mean, I liked
Oh, okay.
Boba Fett. I thought Boba Fett was cool, but I never understood why everybody liked him. And then that's when everybody was like, "Well, you got to read the comics. You got to read the Dark Horse comics." And I'm like, "I'm not fucking doing that. Just make him cool in the fucking movie."
Yeah, you're not doing
So-
homework for your extracurricular.
Yeah,
activities.
I shouldn't. No, just show me in the thing that he came from that made him so fucking cool. Why do we have to retcon it of coolness?
Yeah.
I don't know. Anyway,
No, I get you. I understand. I'm right there with you.
yeah.
Ron, what you got?
Okay, so I definitely liked it a lot better watching it this time than I did watching it the first time. And I think that's mostly because the first time it wasn't keeping my attention and I missed some things. But also, like Chuck said, this is basically like watching A New Hope, but with like slight altercations. Alterations, not altercations. I mean, they do have some altercations, but you know what I mean. But I liked
Movie
it.
is one big altercation, actually.
Yeah.
The whole series.
The whole series, yeah. But like, I did enjoy some of the characters. I don't actually think I like Rey as a character in this. And I don't know if she gets better or not, but she's fairly bland going through this. but like Finn is interesting. He's a little manipulative, and but he's not a bad character. I'm not a big fan of Kylo Ren. He just seems like a Timu Darth Vader. But overall, it wasn't terrible. Like, I would probably watch it again. I'm going to give it a 5.54. What about you, Joey?
So, I already said it before. I love this movie. This is in my top 5 of Star Wars movies.
I mean, there's only 12 of them. That's not hard.
Well, yeah, but okay, fine. Top 6, is that better? Jesus. No, like this is one. Like I was super excited when it came out, when it was announced. I was watching every trailer. I was getting every single like lore comic. I mean, I've been a Star Wars
I
fan
remember.
my whole life. I saw this 5 times that first week it was out. Like
Ooh, dedication.
this was and again, I drove to Alabama, saw it twice in Alabama. Like I went to see it with friends.
Knock it off. Sorry.
I'm trying to. What do you mean knock it off? I'm trying to do my score.
My cat was
Quick, take
chewing on
bets. Was he
things.
throwing it at a kid or a cat?
I can't hit the
Still
mute
had
button.
Yeah, he still had a cat, 100%.
Sometimes I wasn't
Oh,
sure if
okay.
he's throwing it at his kid. So
that's right.
My kids are 19 and 21, Chuck. I'd throw something way heavier at them.
well, I don't know. I mean, it's a pen could hit him in the eye.
But no, so like, yeah, I love this movie. It works for me. Yes, it is a reskin of A New Hope, but I also feel like they fixed a few of the problems that A New Hope had.
Like the incest?
Yes, mainly that.
What if we made the characters...
reverse incest this movie? Like, I just realized they reverse incest by the end of this, and it's still going to bother me. But continue anyway. Sorry.
Okay, sorry. Anyway, we'll get there. No, like, yeah. So I give this an 8.45. Like, it's up there for me. It's still not my favorite, but it is up there for me. Which gives us a combined score of 7.33.
That's not bad.
Which drops it in
That's not
at
terrible.
number 27 out
Okay.
of 119 movies.
That's
So,
pretty good.
Respectable. I like that.
That's actually a little higher than I was expecting. So
I actually expected
top 30.
especially at the beginning when you two were kind of talking shit about it. Expected you both to firebomb it. So
Oh no, I was all my
not
everything
you,
I was
two.
saying was how I felt about it mostly, but then this last watch, like a lot of the stuff, I was like, okay,
Okay,
I forgive some of the blemishes that I couldn't forgive before.
Right.
Not you, Jordan. I meant Ron
Oh.
and Chuck.
I mean, for me, this movie does the stuff that I love about Star Wars really well, which is like dope people who aren't Jedi and low orbit dogfights.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's
Like
fair.
I don't ask for a lot here, you know. So
But I mean, what really got me is yes, we find out, you know, like we find out Luke becomes part of it at the end, which I did enjoy that, and they specifically did the whole thing of not revealing Luke until the end,
Mhm.
because if they did, they would have took away from the new cast. But and yes, it is a Skywalker saga, and we do get a Skywalker with Ben or Kylo Ren, but we do get introduced to new characters. Kylo Ben with Rey and Finn and Poe, and we're following their adventure while they're trying to go up against a Skywalker
Mhm.
and Palpatine. But yeah, like it's just it hit all the beats for me. Like it was a new interpretation of a classic, and it worked for me.
It felt like a cover, like it's like the best way I could put it. There's a band out there called Our Last Night who does post-hardcore covers of a lot of pop
my
songs.
God,
It felt
that's
like
all
that
they
to me.
do.
I know it's all they do, even though
Yeah.
they have albums. No one knows they have albums.
Yeah, no one
But that's-
you would never know that they had.
But
an
that's what
album.
it feels like to me. It's like a really cool post-hardcore cover of like a Olivia Rodrigo song.
Yeah, I think what we can learn like from this and The Crow is like you can make a fucking reimagining or a reskin of a movie and it be different, and then that's still okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
You
the
can
Crow-
keep a
the
lot of the
remake
same elements.
The
but-
Crow remake is good. It's not great, but it's good.
It's
Haven't
it-
seen it yet.
And what we learned from the Psycho remake in the 90s is don't do a shot-for-shot remake with Vince Vaughn in any movie.
Actually, super true.
Add that to the list.
And what we learned from Romeo and Juliet is if you put teen heartthrobs in it, the fucking people will eat that shit up. So
And guns.
and guns with a
Guns called swords.
Swords. That's
Wait,
what makes
I'm
it cool.
Yeah, it's a wordplay. I don't know.
Sure. But yeah, so that is that. Jordan, where can they find you?
Instagram, BS and Craft Beer. Also, if you go find me on Facebook, if you can figure out how to spell my last name, I'm not going to tell you. You're going to have to figure it out yourself. But I'm selling a few things right now from my nerd collection. So I have all of Marvel Phase 1 in the briefcase that I'm selling.
Oh, wow.
Marvel Phase 2 with the Power Orb. I have 2 sets of all the Star Trek motion pictures, both the original and the Next Generation, never been opened before. I have a Sandlot Blu-ray with a bunch of collector's cards in it. I have Star Wars Trivial Pursuit from the original editions. I'm selling that board game. So yeah, go if you can find me on Facebook, go check out some of the things I'm selling.
Just need
What's your last name again?
Zeilinger.
Starts with a Z.
Zeilinger. See if you can find that. I'm just selling it because it's just taking up space. I don't really need these Blu-rays and stuff. I'm just like, I might as well make some money and go buy a Ninja Creamy.
I'm sorry, a what?
It's like a blender thing by Ninja that makes ice cream pretty much.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
it's pretty cool.
If you want to find this name, you look in the show notes because
I forgot that's in there.
And
Here's
it's
the
social
line,
security
I'm
number will
gonna
also
use
be
a
there.
host
So
here.
don't worry.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Chuck.
Oh, you can find me over at patreon.com/professional casual. Look, hey, guess what? Joey and I are working on something for Patreon. We'll have it out soon-ish. A once a month episode dropped specifically for you, where we cover the greatest and latest of a franchise. In the first season, which will be the first year, 12 episodes, we're doing all horror movies. So we're going to be watching what was ranked asterisk greatest, because there are some that I just don't want to rewatch for the billionth time, but ranked highest rated on IMDb, and then the latest drop of that like reboot or part of that franchise or whatever. And we're going to compare and contrast the two, and we will probably have a special guest on too if I can convince them to come on. So could be good.
Nice.
And a legitimate cinephile who is actually quite smart and knows a lot about cinema. So
Ooh,
and loves
like
horror.
that.
So yeah.
Awesome. Ron?
You can find me on Instagram and TikTok at Good at This Game. You can find my art on Instagram at Good Art This Game. And obviously you can find me here on this podcast. Joey?
You guys can find me on Instagram and Threads at Comic Book Rundown. You can email us, comicbookrundown@gmail.com. Rate and review us on your podcasting app of choice. If you do, we'll read an upcoming episode. We've got merch over on Redbubble and TeePublic with new merch coming periodically from time to time whenever Ron sends me stuff. And our song was done by Dr. Father Cam.
Father Doctor Cam.
Either one.
Dr. Daddy came.
Our next movie, I had to move this up because the one that I was going to do, impossible to find. So I had to go ahead and toss that one.
What was it?
Guyver.
Okay.
Oh yeah,
with
we
Cam.
tried.
But
It was like a Power Rangers-esque movie. It looked fucking
Sort of.
rad.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
it's based off of a manga.
Mhm.
So like it's
kind of like Ultraman. It had a very Ultraman
Sort of.
vibe. Yeah.
Yeah,
It looked
was,
awesome as shit. But yeah, Joey and I both like hunted for it. Could not find a rip.
Can't like I can find the DVD on Amazon, but that's it.
Yeah. I don't have a way to watch DVDs anymore, so
Yeah, I mean you don't have a PlayStation.
I have a digital-only PlayStation.
Okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense. So
I was trying to save myself $100, Ron. Fuck you, man. I'm poor. What do you want from me?
I
don't-
you save money if you do the disc.
What?
The disc was cheaper.
No, not when I went for it. The digital only version was $100 cheaper than
And
the
PlayStation is notorious for their digital copies being like they do sales all the time.
Yeah. It was cheap. It was $100 cheaper. But for $100, I can buy an external disc reader. So
Cool. Okay.
yeah.
So
Maybe
the
one day. I'm not going
next
to.
movie
but-
we're gonna do, I'm gonna move this one up. Will be Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2.
The Ninja Rap one, like Vanilla Ice Teenage.
Yeah.
Of the ooze?
Yeah. Hell yeah.
Nice.
Oh man, yikes. Okay.
I had to relook because I was about to say T2, but I was getting myself confused. So yeah, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, Secret of the Ooze.
Hell yeah.
All right.
It's been
I
a long
remember
time since I've seen this one.
I have recently seen it, and if I remember correctly, kind of know.
Go Ninja, go Ninja, go.
Yeah, Super Shredder, man, come on.
It's Kevin Nash, baby, fucking coming
That's
back.
right, Kevin Nash is it? Yeah, that's
Yeah.
right.
Yo, that dude loves signing shit. He loves. He like carries an extra paint pen that's purple just to sign the Super Shredder action figures because it looks so good on the packaging.
Oh,
Yeah, that
nice.
dude loves signing shit. It's awesome.
Love it.
Was it? I was a little sad he wasn't in the. We didn't get Kevin Nash's Russian from
and figure four.
Punisher
Punisher
and
Deadpool.
Deadpool and Wolverine.
Yeah.
Well,
The
anything about
Russian's
Deadpool
there.
Wolverine, I still haven't seen it yet.
It's pretty good.
I've only seen the Gambit thing. Is the only spoiler.
Yeah,
I've
because
seen
that's
so far.
been pumping
It's
everywhere.
Yeah.
But no, like I'm not gonna give you spoilers on who, but like yeah, they have a bunch of characters from the past
Nice.
come in. A few are the same actors and actresses. Unfortunately, Kevin Nash was not one of them.
Nah,
But the Russian is back.
Wasn't
I don't
holding my
think
breath
he's
for him
in.
anyway.
I don't think he's in Russian body shape anymore.
Probably not.
Yeah,
But
I can't guarantee that.
I mean, that
dude
was
wouldn't-
20 years ago, though, so, like,
yeah,
Yeah, that dude's blown out his quad so many times. I'm not even sure he could do anything. Like, plus he's like feuding with like Logan Paul on fucking Twitter. So
who isn't? Logan Paul fucking sucks.
yeah, true. But it's
who's Logan Paul?
He's the guy who went to the suicide forest in Japan and found somebody that had actually just committed suicide there, and he was
Yeah.
making a video, and he's like, "Oh man, I should really report this. Oh, I guess like and subscribe, guys. Oh man,
yeah.
A disgraced
douchebag.
YouTuber who went to WWE and makes millions of dollars. You know, just
Yeah.
that
he's
way
apparently
forward.
going to be fighting Mike Tyson here soon, and I hope to God Mike Tyson like demolishes him."
Logan is.
Oh,
Yeah.
that
Jake.
guy. Okay.
It's like his brother Jake was supposed to do it, and then Jake backed out because he knew he wasn't going to win.
Yeah, Logan is
Yeah.
doing it instead.
Oh, shit, there's two of them?
Yeah.
Yeah, they both douchebags.
Yeah. Jake is the older of the two, and he's also a fucking douchebag. But unregardless,
Irregardless.
no, regardless and irregardless are the same thing. So I use
I know.
unregardless, which is not a word. Speaking of unregardless, nothing on Disney Plus is based off of these movies, correct?
What movies?
The 7, 8, and 9. Like, there's
No.
nothing that they've been making.
There is the Resistance animated show, which takes
Okay.
place technically before this. Other than that, no, nothing else. Nothing at the moment
Not on
is.
Disney Plus, just all the rides at Disneyland and Disney World are based
Yes.
off of this.
Okay, interesting.
Love Lines Resistance. Love that red.
Yeah, it's
Oh
great.
yeah, there's nothing on Disney Plus.
I'm
at the
just super curious. So
Actually, I
the
don't
reason
think
why I
it is.
ask is because in the miniature wargaming side, there's like Shatterpoint and there's Star Wars Legion. Nothing has been made from this, like essentially these eras.
Yeah, like they did again. They have a bunch of books. They have a bunch of comics that are
Right.
in this time, but they haven't touched this for anything
Mm.
else.
And-
I don't know
and-
why.
And the books and comics only came out in like correlation with these movies.
Mhm.
Yes,
and the
a
only
lot of
thing
them
for
have,
the
yeah.
like wargaming side of it that came out was X-Wing had dropped like a Poe Dameron. You could get Rey as the pilot for the Millennium Falcon, I think, and something else. So, so a few things got dropped that were like in like with this, but they also came out when this movie came out specifically. But I'm just so interested
Okay.
because like there are a lot of really cool designs. I'm really surprised they're not releasing shows that are based around this. Like, did the fan base really shit on this enough to make people not
Yes.
want them to make it? That's really that's
Last
a fucking
Jedi-
shame.
Last Jedi split the fandom in half It's either you
Yeah.
love it or you hate it.
That's
And
real
then Rise didn't do anybody any
Just
favors.
destroyed everything. Yeah.
shit.
And so yeah, the fan base just like revolted. That's why they went with the TV shows. They went back to like an Obi-Wan and a Boba Fett and Mandalorian, which all takes place pre and post original trilogy.
None of the games, right? None of the latest video games are in this era.
Nope.
Because Jedi Survivor was after 3.
It's a shame.
What's the Outlaw? Is Outlaws?
Set like, I think
Is that-
between the prequels and the original trilogy or
Okay.
something like that. Yeah.
So yeah, they haven't had anything.
Okay. Yeah, so the closest thing we get is like stuff a little after 6, because like
Mhm.
Mandalorian takes place a little after 6.
Yeah,
Mhm.
So
and Ahsoka and
right.
Skeleton Crew as well, I guess, when that comes out. We
Okay.
now there is announced a Rey movie which will be taking place after 9. It's not going to be part of the saga. It's its own new, like continuing on their story.
Like a Star Wars story.
Mhm.
Rey, a
So
Star Wars story.
I think it's going to be like a new trilogy, but
Eh.
it's just
Believe
it's
it when I
not going
see
to be part of the 1 through 9. It's not going to be part of the saga. It's a whole
Gotcha.
new
Not part of the Skywalker saga.
correct. So it's not. It won't be called like Star Wars Episode 10. It'll be Star Wars Rey's story.
Gotcha.
Again, I don't know, but like that is in the works right now. That's the only thing movie wise that is actually going forward, because everything else they said they were going to do something, and then it's like, oh, guess not. Things fell through.
That's a shame. All right, I was just curious. Just trying to
Yeah.
figure it out. Because there's a lot of bullshit in here that I would have liked to have seen, but
I would love. I mean, again, read the comics.
I don't want to.
I know.
I just canceled my my Marvel comic subscription. I wasn't it's $10 a month, and I fucking wasn't reading it, so I canceled
That's
it.
fair.
Now there's like a bunch of shit I want to read on it, but I know I'm not going to. So
I'll give you mine.
all right, sounds good.
All right, everybody.
Allegedly.
Hey Chuck, who's a mystery solving dog?
Scooby Doo.
That's it. That's all you get. Okay, cool.
You could have hit the button.
Yeah.
Time for